Hey, what's going on? It's TK, and you are locked into the Be Unstoppable podcast.
Welcome to the Be Unstoppable podcast. Me and the team are so glad that you're joining us for this episode. Your support is invaluable, and we'd be so grateful if you could hit the subscribe button. It helps us keep bringing you amazing interviews with top-notch guests. Whether you're watching on Patreon or YouTube, or listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, or any other platform, subscribing really makes a difference. Thank you so much for your support. Let's get back to this episode.
Yo, what's going on? It's TK the Great, co-founder of Finesse Foreva, music executive, entrepreneur, manager, A&R, creative director. Yeah, wear a lot of hats.
Welcome to the Be Unstoppable podcast, where we bring you the voices that are shaping industries, breaking boundaries, and redefining what success truly looks like. Today, we're diving into the story of a visionary who's redefining the music industry from the ground up. Toby Ageku, better known as TK, isn't just the co-founder of Finesse Foreva, he's the driving force behind the rise of UK drill, a genre that has taken the world by storm. TK has been instrumental in shaping careers, breaking barriers, and crafting chart-topping hits that have put South London on the map globally. But TK's journey to success is more than just business. It's about resilience, community, and relentless passion. From growing up in Croydon to co-founding a powerhouse label alongside long-term friends JB and SK, his story is one of grit, ambition, and innovation. Finesse Foreva has not only pushed the sound of the streets, but it's also become a blueprint for empowering young talent in an industry that doesn't always play fair. Today, we'll uncover the highs and lows of TK's journey, from working with industry legends like Tion Wayne, Drake, and Russ, to challenges of navigating personal loss and professional milestones. We'll explore what drives him, the lessons he's learned, and how he's remained unstoppable in the face of adversity. This is a conversation about legacy, leadership, and an unshakable belief in the power of music. Let's get to it. TK, welcome to the Be Unstoppable podcast. And for everyone listening, remember, you have the power to choose your path in life, but always choose to be unstoppable. TK, welcome.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a great intro.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it. It's all about you, my friend.
Come on, man. Man's ecstatic to be here, man. Like, do you know what I mean? You've been a mentor to man as well. It just feels like a full circle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To just have this conversation. We've been saying as well, like the UK needs more of these platforms. I feel like the information that we get is a lot on US platforms.
Yeah.
And we need real experiences coming out of the UK sector, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of information coming from the US about the business. And one of the reasons we started this podcast was because there was a lot of misinformation that I'm seeing online, on social media, especially with regards to the UK rather, industry. And I thought it was really important that we started to highlight those that are doing it and also provide the right information for young people that are trying to move to the next level in their careers, you know, and hear it from the horse's mouths, from the people that are actually doing it. And that can be, you know, age isn't a factor. It's about what is it that you're achieving. So, you know, I really wanted to get you on here because, as you know, I've been an admirer of your work for a very long time. And we're going to get into many stories of conversations we've had and places we've met and so on and so forth. But I want to take it right back to the beginning. I want to take it back to your childhood. What was it like growing up in South Croydon? What were your family surroundings like, and how did that help shape your early aspirations?
Yeah, definitely. So my childhood was a bit choppy. So I wasn't born here. I was born in Greece. My parents used to live there. So after they got married, my mum and dad moved to Greece. My dad studied law in Athens. They had me, then came to the UK just before I turned 2. And obviously it was just me and my mum that came over, innit? My dad was still there, just trying to hustle and bustle. So when we came, obviously we didn't have no papers, no nothing. Do you know what I mean? Living like in bed and breakfast, staying at different families' houses. well, we only had one main family in it, but stayed there for a bit, and then we kind of had to move out in it because they're building their family. So me and my mum was in bed and breakfast. She's, do you know what I mean, plaiting hair in Brixton Market. I'm with her running around. And then obviously she found a church in it, and she had a church family that they took us in. So first I was growing up in Lambeth, like Brixton, Stockwell, Tulse Hill, them sides, and then moved down to West Norwood, where I was staying with a church person's house, just in a little box room with my mum. And obviously she's saving up money and whatnot, and then we end up moving down to Croydon because she was able to get a flat. And then my dad came later in it. So I'll probably say like, yeah, from young to about maybe 5, 6 or 5, it was just me and my mum. So I didn't really have my dad's presence like that.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely played a big impact to me later on when I just kind of analysed certain things, you know what I mean? And obviously not having no like older cousins, no older brothers or nothing. It's just like navigating by myself. I went primary school, obviously getting in trouble a little bit and stuff like that. Then my dad came, and obviously he's doing security jobs and all of that stuff, where I think the wages were like £8, £4 and stuff like that.
But this is after he's trained as a lawyer.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the same time, couldn't get something proper because no papers in it. So everything was more up once they got their citizenship, and I had my brother and that. And then, just going through that, church played a big impact in my childhood. Obviously went to secondary school, going through the motions. Obviously secondary school is different to primary school. So you could be the man in primary school, but once you get into like secondary school playground, it's just different, isn't it?
Thing.
It's older people, do you know what I mean? And then again, it's not having like no elders or nothing like that. So it's like I'm having to learn the ropes myself because no one's showing, man, no game whatsoever.
So you're the oldest of how many?
Two. Just me and my brother.
Just you and your brother.
Yeah. So obviously it was quite choppy, and then I feel like that's when I started to turn a little bit into a bad breed, getting in trouble, getting excluded and stuff like that, isolation. And I didn't really have no sense of purpose even at that age, isn't it? Like 13, 14, because I'm not seeing much. So I think year 9 is when I really started to just go off the rails, man. Like I was going off the rails, like just getting into fights, just getting caught up in different stuff.
And what was making you get into those situations? Because obviously you've come here really young, you and your mum, up until the age of 5 or so, where you've kind of moved around a lot, just you and her. Mm-hmm. Then your dad's come over, you've kind of settled in South Croydon, you're in church, and we're going to get into church and what faith means to you a little bit later on in this conversation. And, you know, at that time that your parents have conceived another child and you're adjusting to life in the UK.
Yeah.
And in secondary school, you're now starting to get into trouble. Why was that? Because now your dad's here, you'd think that there'd be a bit more, you'd probably be a bit more disciplined. Now
my dad's always working in it as well. So he's always working. So I'm not even seeing him as much. And also, why I was getting into trouble, and that's because I'm looking at the rules of the game, of the playground, of the school, of that environment, and respect in it. So I'm seeing who gets respect, and I'm like, if this is what I've got to do to get respect, then I kind of got to show that I'm not a pussy, basically, in it. Like I got.
And why was the respect so important to you?
Because I'd see people that don't get respect would get mocked, in it. They're either getting bullied, or they're not taken seriously, or they're on the outside of certain circles and stuff like that. So I said, all right, cool. If man's got to be bad and be fearless and that, then that's what I'm going to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, obviously I regret it now. And I even apologized to people later on in life when I saw them and stuff like that. But I used to be like, I said, anything I do, I'm going to do it great, innit? I'm going to do it to the fullest. So if it's being front line for beef and whatnot, then that's me, innit? Like, I'm going to do it with my own heart, my whole heart, innit? Got excluded for having a knife in school as well.
Wow.
Luckily, I didn't get expelled.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So just touching on that, because this obviously ties in some of the stuff we're going to talk about later on with drill and the way in which that has kind of been spoken about. The knife crime, London, two go hand in hand, synonymous, especially with young people in school. What was it that made you feel like you had to carry a knife? And, you know, was you carrying a knife, was it something that made you, that you felt you had to do, or was it a choice that, no, I'm just going to do this just to be the baddest?
It's just protection, innit? And it's crazy because if you look at it now, obviously, knife crime, obviously, them days when I'm in secondary school, there wasn't social media like that, innit? It was all Blackberries and, do you know what I mean, Nokias and Sony Ericssons and that, the orange one.
You're talking mid-noughties.
Yeah. Like 2006, 7, all of that. But yeah, it was really because of, one, respect, because it would be cool, look cool, and it was just like protection, innit? These times, like, people get robbed.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Obviously, we had beef with like certain schools. Obviously, me, SKJ, we went to the same school, but me and SK, same year, innit? So we had beef with other schools
SK
and stuff.
And J are your business partners in Finesse Foreva. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? And it was all peak at certain times where like certain schools are coming to our school because our school finishes later and that. Do you know what I'm saying? Where we even got escorted to do our GCSEs by police a couple of times. Yeah, because we had like, madness in school as well. But as I say that, I was living a double life. Do you know what I mean? So I was putting on this facade in school or outside home, but then, do you know what I mean? Every Sunday and whatnot, I'm in church as well, innit?
So what was that like? The being in church, having the second life as the altar boy, as it were?
Yeah, it's conflicting, innit? Like, it's conflicted, but I feel like that gave me balance in morality and integrity. So I would never pick on people or that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like people bully weak people. I would go head to head with people that trying to be on badness all day, say that they're this. That's the people that I'd want to go toe to toe with, innit? Where I remember a funny story, like in school there was one year and he's just talking crazy, bro. Like, and I was like, bro, do you know what? Like, I literally got on my knees and I said, bro, punch me in the face and I'll give you the first shot. Better knock man out, or if you don't, I'm on tops. Didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you're not on nothing. Do you know what I mean? And all these little mentalities, this isn't even to brag, but all these little mentalities, like, that's why when I come to the industry, like, I can see through fakeness and that, because being on the ground, like in the trenches and that, you see fear, you see respect, you see all these different qualities on the raw ground, innit? So I can see through it. Do you know, when people's being fake, when people ain't real. That's why, like, I'm not into all this cliquey stuff. Me and SK, JB, me and SK specifically, obviously we're on the business end, but we're not into all that. Do you know what I mean? And I guess the industry's super fake, and there's a lot of people in positions of power that are super fake. So they're not going to rock with you as much. Do you know what I mean? But again, you got to be unstoppable. You got to keep going, and that's where the resilience, tenacity, all of that comes in, because you have to be able to just suck it up. I say, I know the value and the worth, and when you do it with integrity, I said it in my speech yesterday at the MMF Artist Managers Award, but like, it's harder when you do it with integrity because the game isn't built on integrity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So for those out there, do you want to tell them the award that you won yesterday at the MMF Artist Managers Award? Yeah,
so we won a MMF Artist and Managers Award for Team Achievement. And I think, that just, it defines us, innit? We're a team. Like, FF, the acronym's family first. It's Finesse Foreva, but it's family first, you know what I mean? It's about team. Family is a team. Family unit is a team, do you know what I mean? Build together. Build better together. So, yeah.
I love that. And congratulations on the award. What was the transition from the street life through to music? Like, was there a specific moment or influence that sparked your interest in music, entrepreneurship? Like, what is it that led you down this road rather than continuing down the road of, street stuff?
Yeah, so obviously, like, even how I got into music, bro, was just literally just by chance, because obviously I'm going to church and I'm trying to get out of the service and stuff in it. So I had the opportunity to work on, like, in the sound desk, in the sound booth in it. So I first started just helping the technicians, like running wires and stuff like that. And then just as things progressed, I'm EQing and doing the whole service type thing in it. And I'm listening to the music, I'm listening to the singers. I'm like, oh, this could be better. Da, da, da. And obviously these times I'm doing a bit of rapping as well in it, playground and that. And then the big moment was when our secondary school installed like music units. And obviously it was new to everyone, and this is when like digital software is coming in. So when our RM computers, we had Cubase and that. So when I'm looking at Cubase, I'm like, right, this is basically the same thing as the live desk, but it's just in digital format, innit? So I was able to like record myself, record my friends, and then after school, going to one of my friend's house in Wadden, and that I'm just recording. Everyone's just recording and that. Or I'm going to different studios around London, just like trying to record tracks, record my tracks, record other people's tracks and stuff like that. But still didn't really see like music as an end path. I was into like, I liked humanities. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to study humanities A level, because I like geography, history, all of that stuff, just connecting things, religion, all of that, it all connects. But obviously, because I didn't finish with the grades that I wanted, I wasn't able to do that. So I really just stumbled into a level 3 BTEC course, and that was in media. So went to my own college, and again, college is another environment in it. So now I'm meeting people from different areas that I know is new. There's a new rule to it. So I was finding myself kind of again going back in the loop in it, just not taking course seriously, Skype and stuff like that. And the turning point was when my tutor, a white guy called Andrew Jenner, big him up, but he just pulled me to the side one time, and he's just like, "You got potential, but just take it seriously, or you're gonna end up like a bum and that." Do you know what I mean? And at that point, I was like, "Raw, this guy don't know me from nowhere. He's able to kind of have a trajectory from what he sees to define me in it." And I was like, at that point, I say in every interview, but it's like, I can't allow someone else to define me in it, because I had that pride as well. And it's like, no, I've got to do something. So I started taking the media course seriously. So I'm dibbling, dabbling, doing graphic artwork design, doing photography, doing filming and editing. But I really took to filming and editing. And from taking it seriously, it gave me an opportunity. And all of this ties into why we give back. Do you know what I mean? Gave me an opportunity. So outside of that, he was a freelance director. So he'd get different gigs for like, he had different contracts and that. So my first little experience of the industry was doing a shoot for River Island's website. Like they used to do the little live fits. So I'm shooting content for like 30 seconds a piece, and I'm getting paid like 3 bills, £300, £250, £400, whatever. And I'm going there and I'm seeing people dress just jeans and t-shirt and that, travels covered, food. And I'm like, raw. Like, man ain't got to wear a suit and tie and that. Like he must be raking in peas if he can get these different gigs, and he's working as a tutor at a college. So from then on, I said, "Raw, if I work hard, then he's gonna probably give me more opportunities." Do you know what I mean? So that's what I did, and then now he was just bringing me to other stuff. So I started shooting store launches for artists in River Island, like Oxford Street, when they got an album dropping or whatever. So like, I got to meet different artists like Pussycat Dolls, Eliza Doolittle, Alvaro Santos at the time. Shot something for Rihanna's. She had like a fashion wear collab with River Island, didn't it? Yeah, so did that. So now I'm starting to see how music, fashion, film, all kind of connects. So again, exposure. Do you know what I mean? Exposure is important. So I was exposed to this. So now what happens when you're exposed? Your mind starts running to things, the possibilities, and connecting your circumstances and seeing, all right, cool, how can I leverage this? So I started now getting opportunities to just cover the gigs myself, and I'll send footage back to him to edit. So I'm getting to like build my own relationships. So I ran into Jamal Edwards, rest in peace. So he used to work for another media company, and I was doing some stuff for a magazine company called Disorder Magazine, and was shooting stuff. So I think it was a Tinchy Strider shoot or something like that. But I saw Jamal there, we're just rapping in it. And obviously, because I'm studying TV and film at the time as well, because I moved from media to TV and film, it's just like raw, like, how are you doing your thing? He was just talking about that. He's just leveraging his time in it. So we're both here shooting this content for the companies, but he's pulling artists to the side to say, yeah, can you do an F64? Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, cool. What I'm looking at what I got around me, what can I do? And I started saying, like, cool, I got to make use of this. So I started shooting music videos, I'm shooting weddings, I'm saving up money. I'm like, it'll be great to have because I love music, but I don't want to do what he's doing. But if I can incorporate all these skills into one thing, that would be sick. And I love music, do you know what I mean? Big, like, Wiz Khalifa fan at the time, Drake, Young Money, all of that. I'm seeing these teams being built. So I had a chat with JB. These times I'm like 17, 18. JB's like 15.
And you know JB from school?
I know JB because he went to he goes to my church.
Yeah.
So we've grown up in church together, and we've taken him in as man's family because his mum passed away. Do you know what I mean? And I always said, like, once his mum passed away, like, made a pact. I said, I'm gonna always make sure that he's good, look after him, and that. You know what I mean? He was the drummer at our church. Do you get me?
Okay.
So I was like to him, like, raw, like, do you know what I mean? You're still at secondary school, but you're using the studios, and one of his friends was telling him to make beats because he could play drums. I was like, raw, like, we should try to start some sort of like label thing. And that was kind of the birth of our first little baby company called KSL, which was keen to serve in lyrical music.
Okay.
And from there, it was kind of like building. Started our first studio in my friend's house in Streatham Vale, and then realised, like, raw, while we're doing that and building, meeting different people, I'm literally just finishing my last year of college. And I was still kind of just getting into drama, innit? Like, I wasn't really much like of a gang banger, but I was around people, innit? Like, and obviously as you're growing up, just people get into different situations, and a big turning point for me, like just really accelerated my focus was had a madness at my college when I was at East Surrey. And one of my peoples got into little dramas in it. So obviously me being frontline, I was just like, just took it upon myself. Do you know what I mean? Took the problem upon myself. So the people was calling and they're like, oh yeah. I was like, bro, just come to the college, and just come to the college and just like bun all this talking thing on the phone right there. So came out, had bare people from the college coming out with, man. It's like, what, 15, 20 people. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm calm in it. But just head outside, boom, first. There's only 4 youths that come off the bus or whatever, and they were all trying to do this hyping thing on the road or whatever. I was just like, bro, just go around the corner, like, all this talking, like, just go around the corner, innit? So, like, people's just saying, all right, cool, just one-on-one this dude, innit, or whatever. So everyone's just, it's all snowing these times as well. It's crazy, but...
fight in the snow,
yeah,
you've got time.
Went on the side road, man. And then, yeah, obviously I do karate, martial arts. I was still, like, learning early days then.
Yeah.
But, yeah, obviously I waxed up the youth. He's bleeding, then next minute, like, these couple cousins that was there, they all started trying to jump in it. But at this time, I'm like, raw, like, they're jumping in, and I'm looking around, and everyone's just standing to the side, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got people here that move like they're on stuff in their ends, like no one's doing nothing. And then now I'm thinking, like, bro, cool, got to fight like 4 people at the same time. So I'm rocking one unit, rocking another unit, and then someone's like, raw, like, who's got the car, who's got the well or whatever. And then I'm looking around because they're passing it, innit? And I'm thinking, raw, like, who's got it? Like, trying to focus. And then one of the big youths just kind of took man down. He was on top of me. So while I was on the ground and I was getting kicked up and whatnot, another youth was just like, I thought he was punching my face, innit? I thought he was punching my face, but he actually wasn't, innit? Because afterwards, like, one youth pulled one youth off me, innit? And got up. And then literally when I got up, someone's like, your hoodie's all leaking, bro, like, da-da-da. So then someone's like, oh, your ear. Then I'm seeing, like, oh, raw, like, I got slashed on my ear, innit? And she's like, yeah, he's trying to stab you, innit? Neck. And then even while I was talking to someone, another youth just punched, man, right on my ear, bro.
Wow.
Crazy when it's cut. And then, after that, it's just like, bro, I was fuming. I went red. It's not like I've seen anything. So I'm trying to take on these youths on the road and that, all cars, buses and that are stopping in the middle of the road. And then it kind of ended because I think people from the college came out, like teachers or whatever, and it all kind of cut off. And then after that, I was just literally looking at everyone. I was like, you're all wet. No one's on nothing. And at that point, I was like sitting on the bus back home and I was chatting to my bedrooms on BB and I was thinking, what am I going to do? Am I going to turn it up? Because man could turn it up. Should man turn it up?
You mean like go after them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What should I do? And so I got so much. So I understand these youths on the road, innit? Because as well, when you get a violation, all you want to see is red, bro.
Yeah.
You want to kill something. Like you want to, do you know what I mean? So I was chatting to my bedrooms and it's like, what should you do? Everyone's like, rah, swear down this person was there. They didn't do nothing. All right, what do you want to do? Do you know what I mean? And I had to really think about it and I had to look at all the different things in my life. At these times, I'm chasing this music thing as well. Still early days. And I had to say to myself, I had to put my pride aside. I said, bro, I've got something to lose in a sense, innit? Do you know what I mean? Because at these times, I didn't even say this, but at these times, obviously, I put in a little proposal to like my church building because there was a floor. There was a floor that they used to have like offices and people would have it rented out. And there was like a room that was like someone was using as a salon, but it was free for like a year or something. And it was set up as a booth because the building used to be like a club and there was a studio now upstairs. So me and JB put in a proposal and we got it. Do you know what I mean? So these times I'm 18 or whatever, 17. So I got my first 24-hour
studio.
Exactly. Yeah. I had my 24-hour access studio. Like started off with a Mac Mini stereo speakers. So I had that, and then I'm in this situation. I'm like, rah, if I get into mad beef now and I turn it up, it's going to be a never-ending cycle, and I'm easy to get picked off because you know where I'm at. You will know where I'm at. Do you know what I mean? So I just had to say, do you know what? If I see man, or whatever, but I'm not going to pursue it. And it was the hardest decision I had to ever make because I felt my pride in it. So I understand these young youths on the road. So it's so funny. A couple weeks later, who do I see? I saw one of the youths, one of the main youths that I waxed up. And I saw him jumped off at Whitgift Centre, and I jumped off the buffs because I was just going to be like, rah, what's good now? Like, it's me and you. And he's like, rah, like, obviously, and I respect him for this. He's like, obviously, yeah, cool. Like, here now, I could do something, but see, man knows about your thing as well. Like, you're doing this music thing, like, see, we could do it now, but you know, like, it's not even going to end, innit? And I said, yeah. I said, I know. I was like, and I said, you know what? Call it. Left there's that, hop back on the bus, and I was en route to the studio because I'd be jumping on the 468, innit?
Yeah.
From South Croydon to Selhurst or whatever. And from there, I just went uni, went London South Bank, did TV and film, got a degree in that. And I stayed on the ends because I had something to build in it. And obviously at this time now, one thing's leading to another. Me and JB's recording different people in the ends, and it was dope because we understand the whole creative concept from creating that idea to creating the beat to engineering it. Obviously I'm filming, so I can film the music videos, putting it out. Man has the whole process like that, and then next thing someone's like, oh, you should manage me. Start managing this artist. Someone's like, you should do events. Started doing on parties. My first thing was like a barbecue party or whatever, and started doing showcases, so having people from the ends like Stormzy, even Central C, perform the man's early platforms, started managing artists like Hardy Caprio, Vianney, man, Nadia Rose, like all these different people, and then started doing events in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, like parties, so like it's building communities, you get what I'm saying? And then going through that when I finished uni, it really inspired me to read books because I had to do a dissertation and I had to do citations, all of this stuff. So I came across Sigmund Freud. Do you know what I mean? Reading. So my dissertation was on like the male and the female gaze in film, how you look at things, perspectives. Do you know what I'm saying? And I started reading. I was like, wow, this reading stuff's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. Do you know what I mean? So I started seeing, I wonder what other books are out there. So I read a book called Rework, and that literally opened my mind to just being aware of everything around me. It's like my whole lens just cleared, bro. And it was like, yeah, don't be afraid to rebrand, start again. And that's how we created 104 Forever.
Do you feel like that moment where you hopped off the bus, you saw your art, and you two engaged? Do you feel like that was a turning point in your life? Do you feel like if you made a different decision, your life would be completely different?
Facts. Because it would never end. That's the cycle of the roads, innit? The road mentality. It's not a gang mentality, because that's what they like to do. They try to group all this stuff as gang stuff. It's not. It's just different groups of people, friends, and they have disagreements, and then it's just two groups of people, and everyone else gets involved because they back this person. Do you know what I mean? And if we took it there, it's going to be tit for tat.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to want revenge, so it will never end.
You've touched on, then going to uni, picking up books, etc. And also the exposure that you were given to being able to go out on a shoot, meet artists, and the way that started to change the way that you think and look at creating new opportunities that led you to make a different decision when you came face to face with that situation. Do you feel like, especially, coming from South London, South Croydon, but generally, do you think that as a young black man or even for people from low socioeconomic backgrounds, that there's enough opportunities for them to be exposed to different types of things, whether it's media, whether it's theatre, whether it's sport, etc. And do you feel like some of the lack of exposure might be the reason why people end up in these situations where they're in violent situations on the streets?
Facts. Without exposure, you can't have a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? That's why, like, even as I've been elevating, me and SK say this all the time, as we've been elevating, we have to move different. And there's certain people we just can't have conversations with because they haven't seen what we've seen. So you're never going to get it. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's why we're big on trying to give exposure with the stuff that we're doing, these music business courses with, do you know what I mean, just talking to people, bringing people along. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, my PA now, Judith, like, she was on our music business course. She's trying to get into the industry, saying what she wants to do. She's not, do you know what I mean? Showed me a bit of hard work. So I was like, cool. You're going to basically be like man's executive assistant, but then you're going to be helping with managing the artist, But even her coming to this, like, being exposed to how a podcast thing is set up and how it runs, do you know what I mean? And it's like, once that person learns that, then they can show someone else, you know what I mean? And it's like, if my tutor didn't give me, if my tutor didn't give me that opportunity, I wouldn't be so big on opportunity, because him just giving me that opportunity has lit so many other candles, and that's what it is about, do you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I think it's insane that people don't get it. Do you know what I mean? All of this, like, ego competition thing, like, it's just wet. It's wet, bro. Like, and I just don't get it. Like, if you see people helping people, help me help people. Like,
I
don't get it. Especially if we've had to struggle to get into a position. There's enough space for everybody to win. Like, no one can be in competition because everyone has their own purpose of what they're trying to achieve. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to achieve something different to what I'm trying to achieve. Like, and the people that move wet and have all this ego stuff, that they truly don't fully understand what their value and what their purpose is. Because if they did, they'd move different. We are not here forever, bro.
Do you know your purpose?
150%.
Are you open to share that with us?
My purpose, bro, is simple, and it's a joint purpose. Do you know what I mean? With the man them, and it's just literally, we are not here forever, but legacy will be forever, and the impact that you leave with people will be forever. So obviously, man's a Christian as well, and if you look at what Jesus' life was about, it was helping other people. It was just helping other people.
Yeah.
And reading stories, like, he died, how long ago? But it's still topic of conversation now.
Yeah.
Because what was he doing? He was helping people, he was healing people, Do you know Do you know what I mean? What was one of the greatest commandments that he says in the Bible, which is love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest commandments. So we operate on love, innit? And sometimes as well, like when you move with love and whatnot, people that ain't experienced that don't even know how to take that, handle that.
Absolutely.
Do you get what I'm saying? And again, innit, it's got to, like, man's got to move with wisdom and understand that, like, and have patience. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the key qualities. Like, if you're talking about fruits of the spirit and that, that's one of the key qualities, like patience and that understanding and the whole perspective game is that people ain't, again, like having a conversation with someone the other day, innit, and they felt like man was being egotistic because man said, I've got 15 years of experience in events. I said, I've got 15 years of experience in events, innit? And I might have, apparently I've said it like 2 times, 3 times. But I said, the fact that you think that that's ego means that your ego was hurt and you've said something about it. So you're the person with the ego. Do you get what I'm saying? You're taking it out of context, because if you don't know my perspective, like what context did I put that in? I put it in the context of, if we're making a decision to do something, then I'm saying, based on my 15 years experience, this is why I think this might make sense. Yeah. And it might be another circumstance. Like, so it's nothing to do with ego. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, innit, I understand it's all about perspectives, and do you know what I mean? It's different. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why me and SK, bro, we are the biggest learners. Like, we come around different people that's been there. Like, people always say, how are you doing this? It's because we learn from all the people around us.
No, I've definitely seen that. I think when we, from when we first met, one of the things that struck me is you always had people younger than you that were eager to learn about the business and get into the business around you. And I was always like, every time I see this guy, he's got another young person with him that's learning something, and you're introducing me like, yeah, this person's trying to learn about management, or this person wants to get into producing. So we've just got them around us. And I was always like, that's dope. That's dope. And I think that was one of the reasons I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to help these guys whenever I can, if they need it, even if it's just a call. Like, oh, what do you think of? I was like, okay, I'll make myself available to these guys. Because like you said, it goes beyond. If I can help you, you can help someone else, then they can help someone else. And it's a never-ending cycle. So let's get to Finesse Foreva and how that ended up being created. So you've said, you guys were
104 Forever. Yeah.
You were at uni and you started the 104 Foreva. Can you tell us what that is? And
So where that studio where we started was 104 White Horse Road, innit? So we just said, like, cool, like, if we leave from here, we know where we started from, innit? So it was like, 104 Forever, boom. So obviously as we was going, growing pains, like things were getting busy, a lot more traffic coming into the building and whatnot. You have different types of people. Some people smoke weed, all of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's not becoming conducive and that. So it's like, all right, cool. We got asked to leave, innit? So they gave us some notice period, which I think was great, because in the long run, I had a conversation with JB and I was just like, bro, cool. Man's finished uni, like working, Do we carry this thing on, or do we just call it quits and just try to get a proper job or something? I was just like, nah, man, we built something, like, we've got to keep going. So once we left, it was about trying to find a new studio location. And just by going to a gig, I went to a gig in Fairfield Halls or something, and then I met a woman who had a basement studio space, innit? So it's just like, yeah, we need a spot. So now, like, I'm working at 2-3 jobs. I'm working at Domino's, working at Tesco.com in the factory, whatever, and paying for this new spot. It's just like, I always rewired studios. I love doing that, setting it up and that. And I needed TV screens. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, it'll be sick if we got a TV screen in the booth, TV screen in the, do you know what I mean? So one of my guys at the time was like, oh, you remember SK, innit? Like, yeah, he's selling TVs and stuff like this. So it's like, oh, yeah, it'd be good to catch up with him as well, innit? You get me? Because this man's bro. So we caught up, sold man the TVs, and we went to the cafe, like, in Norwood, just chopping that up. He's just telling man, like, he lost his dad and whatnot. He's been building something called Finesse Entertainment. And I was like, all right, cool, let's just chop it out properly. So I invited him out to hip-hop karaoke, innit? These times, he wasn't really going out as much. He was more like, do you know what I mean? Like, reserved. So just come out in it. So we went out hip hop karaoke after that.
How are you on hip hop karaoke? Because I'm a reigning champion on that.
We didn't even do that. We went there for vibes, innit? We just went there for vibes still. But yeah, like after that, we came back to my studio and then we just said, all right, cool. Just made a plan. We said, yeah, this is what the next 5 years could look like.
Okay.
And it's like, you got this thing called Finesse Entertainment. We got 104 Forever. It'll be sick if we come together and create Finesse Forever. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, he was working with some people at the time, but he went back to them. They weren't seeing the vision in it. And they must have did something. Then he was just like, right, do you know what? Man's with you, man, innit? Like, boom. And then we come up with the idea in 2016, 2017. We like, all right, cool, let's make this a company, innit? And from there, it was up. Do you know what I mean? Started managing IQ because he brought IQ. So paired up IQ, JB, making these records like Television You Can Try and whatnot. Then had other guys come around, which we started to manage, like Tweeko. He's got the cold room, and so he was like one of our main engineers. He's learning from JB. Scratch mixed it as well. I mean, these men all started with us.
So you and SK started as the kind of main business guys once you came together, and JB is a producer, so he was like, I'll take care of the production side. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but JB's with me in it, and it's like our idea. So he's like I guess the creative element director. Do you know what I mean? So so we did that, and then started managing, taking on bare different artists, and then we started getting into the drill. But we didn't know that this was drill.
Yeah.
But we started managing one of our friends who passed away, Tugsy, rest in peace. But after he died, he got shot, and his younger came around in it, and we started working with him. And we were just listening to the content of what he's talking about. Like, bro, like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, this is all sounding mad. Like, this is all graphic. Like, obviously, yeah, cool. We grew up on Grime and Roadside G's, PDC and that. But this is different, bro. The beat's different. It's a lot more. And then, obviously, at the time, IQ lost his close friend, M. Dot. And there was that whole Gangland documentary and all of that stuff, innit? So all this knife crime, IQ's like 15, 16. So we're starting to get into all of this stuff and actually seeing what's happening on the ground. Because obviously after we've gone uni and we're in our own worlds, once you come out of that college environment, all of that secondary school, you kind of lose a little bit of touch. So it's like they brought that to reality, and then seeing like some of the young G's that are carrying some mad knives and stuff like that. Like, bro, why are you doing this? Like, it's like, bro, like, it's on tops. That's what they'll be saying. We were just like, right. And at the time, I was doing a side gig working at a children's home.
Yeah.
And working at the children's home as well, just broadened my perspective on things. And I was kind of like, raw, like, people are living like this here. Obviously, I've travelled around.
What do you mean by like living like this?
Like, bro, in the children's home, I'm sorry to say for people that work in the care system and that, bro, but some of these lot would know. But it's basically a prison, like, in a sense. Especially, like, I would say for young black youths, innit? Because there isn't many black-ran children homes. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a mix of different demographics in a home, but then the parent figures in the home are all a specific demographic.
Yeah.
The relatability is different. Do you know what I mean? The food's different. Man's not getting these cultural food or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When he's flaring up a tantrum, like, and these youths ain't seeing their biological parents and stuff. So they're basically alone. And if they're 15, 16, they might not always be allowed to go out by themselves and stuff like that. And if they're bad, it's just like, all right, cool. Yeah, stay in, Do you know what I mean? So I'm chatting to these youths and whatnot. So I was able to bring some of the youths with me to the studio. You know what I mean? And the staff didn't mind, because it's like, if I could take 3 youths out of the house,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? They'll give me the work car or whatever, van and that, and I'll take them studio. And at the same time, I could chase the stream. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm bringing them with, man, to a radio station, and there was one youth called Andre who me and Skills used to let take the aux, and he'd just be playing this drill stuff as well, and all man's hearing this like, man's just like, bro, what are you playing? What is this? Like, do you know what I mean? And then one time it's just on our Instagram story, and we see Tweeko in our studio, and we heard the same and I'm like, I'm sure this is who my man was playing, and do you know what I mean? And we looked at their profile, and it's like, on YouTube. It's like, right, they're getting views and like, let's just roll up to the studio. But I digress a bit. But working in children's home really exposed man to how they're living in the sense of like they're not being exposed to stuff. Do you know what I mean? So me bringing them out could expose them to different things. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's how even through that young person we even started managing Skendo and AM. Do you know what I mean? Because we went to the studio, saw them, then realised that we had a couple mutuals and stuff like that. And they were like, right, like they need management, but they didn't really want people from the hood, from Brixton, like managing them, innit?
Yeah.
You get me? So from there, they did a feature with like one of our friends, that lad's artist. And then from there, we just started managing them, and then that just took things up a whole nother level. And then because we did like a little single deal with Moves, that was like one of our first
Moves recordings.
Yeah, with Marathon artists, innit? So that was like one of our first little record deals. I think it was like we got 400 quid for a track. Do you know what I mean? I was like, right, like flipping heck, we made it, innit? Do you know what I mean? And now because we had Skinner and AM, we were like, right, if this is what we could do with them and put out this record, we're bringing something that's even bigger. Like, let's do this. And then they were like, oh, we're not signing anyone else for the year, but we really pushed it. But shout out Ian McQuaid, because he pushed it through, innit? He took it on, and that was probably one of the best things that he ever did, because then we did the 2 Bunny track project, and that was the first drill project that really moved the needle in terms of taking it more seriously and people wanting to invest in drill. Do you know what I mean?
Into
and we
the
saw
mainstream
that
space,
and then we got our first imprint deal. Didn't know what that was at the time, but had an understanding. I thought like, yeah, I'm a big Nipsey Hussle fan, innit? So it's just like, I felt like, yeah, man's supposed to be a marathon artist. His thing's marathon, do you know what I mean? TMC. I was like, yeah, this is, do you know what I mean?
So what did that imprint deal look like?
Yeah.
What was the structure of that? What did that look like?
Yeah, so I know they did it to keep us around and make sure that they had like Skinner AM and like everything else. So they had them signed directly, and they had like another R&B singer that we had. They signed her directly to Marathon Moves, and then we had an imprint where we could sign other stuff, and they gave us a retainer. When we talk about it, like, bro, we could have got more. Do you know what I mean? But we took a retainer because we were just thinking like, right, we just need to make this thing work.
It was the early days, and you're just starting.
Skills. We took a retainer of like £1,000. So we looked at it as like, ah, cool. Like we'll put like £500 towards like company stuff and that, like studio, and we'll take £250 each, like a month in it. And then we also had like a what's it called? What do they call it? I can't remember what it is, but they give it to you as like a little present, not a present, but it's just like, here you go, innit?
Take 10K,
bonus. Yeah, and then you could buy like some equipment or whatever.
Okay, yeah,
so then we use that to like buy a new MacBook, buy a new mic, all of this stuff. And yeah, from there it was 50-50. This was a joint venture deal. They would put out the bread, so we had like a marketing budget of, I can't remember what it was, I think it was like 15-20 grand, something like that. But what we saw with that, we were like, you've got power. So we said, right, we started doing records with everyone, like Quengface, QTT, took on like Ivor and Doe and Abigail. Every artist, M24, we started doing records with him. Everyone that you see popping, most people, they've come through our doors, innit? And we also saw it as a way to invest back in the community in a sense. So rather than using all these videographers and whatnot, we knew that we can work out a budget for a release and work it out as like £500 or whatever, because we'll pay the videographer 2 bills or £150, because they weren't getting £150. No videographers that's coming up in the end to getting £150. People are paying them like £50 or whatever. So we're paying videographers like, cool, work with us and that. We'll do this. Graphic designers, they were like young youths, 15, 16, we're like, ah, cool, yeah, we could pay you 30 quid and we'll keep you on like a little retainer thing, we'll keep using you, do you know what I mean? And because of that, people are like, rah, TK and SK helped me get money. Do you know what I'm saying? And we saw the value in that, in helping people. Because helping people allowed to help us make our thing a reality too. It's just simple. Provide value, get value.
Yeah.
And then that just led to other things. We need to own this. We need to create our own videography setup. Let's get some cameras and invest in some people. So we did like a raffle giveaway for some cameras. And we still work with these guys to this day, Black Car Visuals, you know what I mean? But getting that opportunity when we're getting like other advances for other deals of buying lighting equipment and stuff like that. So they can use it for whatever they need to do. Man ain't taxing that, just use that. But when we need it, you're doing this for us for a discounted rate. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was set up, because we knew that we have to be self-sufficient. And the moment you don't own nothing or don't have control of something, you don't dictate it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think being independent in a sense it's a superpower, but you got to know how to be independent, and you need to understand what that truly means, innit?
Yeah, yeah. So what happened next? You did the marathon deal. I think I met you around 2017, 2018, in Old Street.
Mate.
You were working with Ollie Ashley, if I remember, the son of Mike Ashley, owner of Newcastle United at the time, and JJB Sports. I think you guys had some access to studios and office space, and did he not start working with you in terms of publishing as well, if I remember rightly?
So that opened up the publishing knowledge a bit and understanding the power of publishing producers. And obviously we started off as a production house, you know what I mean? Me being an engineer in JB production, having guys like Twico scratch around, we valued them in it. Like, we valued them, and we saw that no one's putting value on producers and that. So obviously Ollie Ashley, he had something called Praise Music, and he signed JB, and he had a couple other producers like Scott Styles or something. So yeah, when we did that and signed JB, obviously JB had access to the studios and stuff like that, having more conversations with Ollie. And we met a guy called Clive Black. So he was the games tour manager right now. So he took me and SK out for a meal, and he's just giving us game and that, like, do you know what I mean? And he's just like, one thing about the old heads in the game, man, they got stories for days. Do you know what I mean? And the best conversations always happen at a restaurant, coffee shop, And he's like, yeah, JB, I think he's the real deal. He could be the real deal. Do you know what I mean? And he's just like, yeah, gonna do this deal. He's gonna land something big. Don't know when, but he's got to work hard. And he was just giving me an SK game and telling us stories about like Mark Morrison and people that he's worked with. And again, being exposed to the stories allowed us to help navigate and see things when they arise. You know what I mean?
Clive is the son of Don Black, and Don Black co-wrote Ben with Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So even when me and Skills are having these conversations, these times we're all still bumping train and that. His mum's all dropping us £20 to share for food and that. Like, but we're having these conversations, and Clive Black was like, yeah, do you know what? I think we're going to do a deal for JB. Do you know what I mean? Get him something to praise in it. What's his number to get him out of work? Do you know what I mean? Said like, cool, like 30 grand. Do you know what I mean? But doing that deal allowed us to get into the door with those studios there. And one thing Clive Black said to us is, I could tell you guys are intelligent men. Like, you're intelligent, but you guys don't smell like money. Like, you're only going to get true success when you start spending like money, looking like money, and We didn't fully know what that meant, innit? Didn't fully know what that meant. Because at the same time, what does he mean? Does he mean like do this clout thing, like bling, And me and Skills were kind of conflicted because we just tried to keep it humble, and we just tried to do the work,
What do you think he meant by that?
Now, I think what he meant by that was optics, man. Like, you got to look bigger than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show people, like, these are the levels. You got to document everything. Do you know what I mean? You got to do it, like, to wear the chain. Like, that's why I'm wearing the chain now. Like we could have got the chains from earlier, but we just thought, like, nah, man, I don't want to do it that way. But it's hip hop to do it this way. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you see what you see at the highest level, 50 cents, that's what it is. So if that's part of the game, then we'll just do it. We don't need to do it, but man will just do it. Like, man's got friends that are jewelers and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's not like we got a full car, crazy amounts and stuff like that. But it just puts off, it shows the image of what we're representing, innit? And like, yeah, once we started doing that, like even when this drill thing was happening and the news people were trying to call out drill, me and Skills were going on the news platforms, and what we were doing, we were wearing FF shirts.
Yeah.
We weren't going in no hoodie because we understood the game and how we're represented through media. I study TV and film. I understand how perspective that female, male gaze. Do you know what I mean? So we were going on these platforms, talking up for drill and that, wearing shirts on the biggest stages, the biggest platforms, and Sky News, how billion people broadcasted. Do you know what I mean? So this is showing that these men of a certain standard, certain level, profession, and that it's starting to smell and look like money. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was just literally just compounding that. But back to being in Praise House, had access to the studios, we're having conversations with Ollie and stuff like that. He's seen what we're doing, and it's just like, this drill stuff, I really like it. He wants to get invested in it. Like, so this conversation was happening about we should put on camps, because me and Skills like, right, we should put on camps for producers and stuff, because there isn't nothing like this for bringing all producers into different rooms. So we started doing production camps, and bringing in producers that you see online and people be buying beats from YouTube, your ghosties. Pardon me. Obviously, we started managing Gotcha as well, who started off as an engineer and that. And we started bringing in all these other people, Seb's Beats, AV, but we created an environment for them to connect and collaborate. Do you know what I mean? Which just made better music, better sounds.
And how was that set up? So you guys were kind of managing the producers, and then Ollie was signing them to his publishing situation?
So we were just managing them. So we came up with this thing of, all right, cool, now we've got these production camps, we're cooking up beats. They need to get placed, innit? So we created this concept, Drillantic, innit? Which didn't fully come to fruition, which I won't get into. But we said, all right, cool. We should
and that concept was UK drill artists collaborating with US, specifically New York-based drill artists, and then doing the collaborations across the Atlantic. So it became Drillantic. Yeah.
So it's like, that'd be dope. So we were like, all right, cool. While we're doing these camps, we're giving them a bit of education and stuff, because obviously at the time we had knowledge from PRS and stuff like that. Told them, like, you need to get signed up to PRS first and foremostly. And there's going to be an opportunity at the end of this camp to take a couple of producers to New York to do sessions and stuff in it. So, we did that. Picked out like Hargo, Ghosty, JB and whatnot. We went to New York. And then after chopping up the beats and stuff, like, it's just like, you need to do more trips. Do you know what I mean? So the first trip, SKJB went. I went on the second trip, start building up ties in it. And again, in it, I guess growing up in the end, South London, we understand politics and stuff like that. So we had artists that are from different hoods, like New York and whatnot, all using the same studio, like Jerry Wonder's studio. Do you know what I mean? So he did like Fugees and all
Jerry
this stuff.
Wonder was co-producer with Wyclef for all the Fugees records and stuff like that.
We had all these different people in and out, managing the different rooms and stuff like that. And now we just started seeing, again, exposure in it. Just started seeing the difference. That the game is basically the same everywhere, in just different formats. You know what I mean? So we said, like, raw, maybe it's like we need to put out like a tape or something. Like, so we're like, we're gonna do this. And from being in New York as well, that's how the opportunity for JB ended up working or producing for Drake and 5 Year Foreign. That Demons record. Do you know what I mean? And off the back of that, Move Motion, he ended up producing for French Montana and that. Do you get what I'm saying? And I guess people within the scene started to see all of this as well. So they're like, they want to work with us. They want to work with us.
And that's when you started to look like money.
Exactly. Bingo.
I hear you. So JB did sign a publishing deal with Locked In, right? With the studios and with Ollie and stuff. Because I vividly remember kind of pulling you aside and saying the terms were
bit mad,
very unfavourable. They were 100% deals. For
He's in a situation now,
and it was impossible to recoup off of that type of deal because for those who don't understand, 100% deal means that you have to, in order for a song to contribute to recoupment of the advance, you have to have written 100% of the song, which means you had to write all the lyrics, all the melody, and produce the whole song. Now, as we know,
That's not gonna happen. It's
that
collaborative.
rarely happens because songs are a collaboration between various people, which means that the percentages are split up, which means it makes it impossible to ever recoup a song because that song will never count towards recoupment if it's at 100%.
Locked in.
Now, I remember seeing that contract, and that was think like the first couple of times I met you, and I was like, listen,
Yeah.
that contract is not working. It's not going to work for your guy. You need to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that experience, what did that experience teach you going into that situation, knowing that you're working with people who are providing you with great opportunities to go out to America and, you know, have all these great things happen, but at the same time, we're doing business that effectively meant that you wouldn't make any money?
Yeah. So I think JB's actually recouped now. We did manage to switch it from now 100% as well. It comes down to purpose, man, and knowing what you're trying to achieve. Like we even say this on our music business course, there is no perfect deal. There's no right or wrong deal. You know what I mean? You just need to know what you're giving away and what you're trying to get. And what you're trying to get, does that outweigh what you're giving away? Do you know what I mean? And that we know where we're coming from. We're building from the ground up. So we need to be able to take little L's to build for the greater good in it and sacrifice certain things, which, to be honest, has helped us a lot. Because again, doing bad deals allows you to preempt and prevent like certain further situations in the future.
And understand what a good deal looks like.
And it's helped a lot, you know, because it's based off these experiences that we're able to deliver these music business courses.
Yeah.
And give the education. So these young people coming up and even older people coming up don't make these same mistakes. Do you know what I mean? So
let's talk about that for a moment, because, you know, we've touched on the fact that you've set up the production company, managing. There's another side for Finesse Foreva, which is education and working with young people and finding opportunities. You want to tell us a little bit about how that got started and what that does?
Yeah. So came off the back of the pandemic, innit? So obviously we're big in the community and the ends and whatnot. And yeah, during the pandemic, all of this stuff was going on. George Floyd, people talking about Black Pound dates and all of this stuff, but we're just looking around and we're like, what is people doing? What's people actually doing? Even our own people, like, what are we actually doing? And even a big penny drop for me was when the whole George Floyd thing was happening, and they were doing something in Croydon Town Centre, and they were doing this silence thing for however many minutes, and everyone's taking a knee in it. So my mum was like, we should go. So I went with her. We went. People was holding placards and that, Black Lives Matter, and I was like, cool. Someone was like, oh, I'll take a picture of that. And I was like, took the knee right there. I took a picture holding a placard saying Black Lives Matter. I went home, had something up on my Snap. And I literally just posted on Instagram me holding the placard. I'll never forget. I had my fresh braids in, bro. And like, I had the placard. I was wearing a Nat Tech trackie, holding the placard, Black Lives Matter. And at that point, I said, because I think a lot. I was like, why did I post this, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what am I trying to portray? What is the perspective? What is the gaze that I'm trying to portray in it? And I'm like, why the hell am I putting a picture up of me holding a placard saying, my life matters?
Yeah.
Do you know how low level, low vibrational that is? Like, that whole Black Lives Matter campaign is wet. Do you know what I mean? Like, and even all this racism stuff in it, like, I don't believe in racism. I do believe there is discrimination and whatnot, but it's really about, at the end of the day, bro, at the end of the day, and people might not like this, but communities are going to look after their community. So if another demographic, whether that be Asian, whether that be white, whether that be whatever, if they have built a system for their community to operate on, why the hell should they allow other people to come into that? Like, they should be able to pick and choose. I'm sorry, but they have a right to, because you look after people that have similar background to you. It's like family. Do you get what I'm saying? So I switched on and I was like, right, what's man doing for our community? What are these other leaders doing for our community? What systems are being built? to help foster, nurture talent, ideas, all of this stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So rather than trying to bang down the door to get into their tables and that, just create man's own thing. And just like they do, you see the Asians, they do business with other demographics, but there's a level of respect because like you build your thing, I respect that. You build your thing, I respect that. So we got to find some common ground, whether or not man don't like you or not. Gonna do something together because this makes sense and it's gonna be mutually beneficial, innit? But the problem we have with our demographic, and I don't even like saying black or whatever, because it's just wet. But we haven't built enough things to be respected to a certain degree. We're getting respect in certain areas because we're kicking down doors in certain areas. But I think what we need to focus on doing is building up kingdoms, innit? Like we need to build up things for ourselves, whether that be in property or whether that be in investment banking. Do you know what I mean? Someone like Dean Forbes, he's doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like we need to do that in music and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? That's why I don't even get other black execs at the highest levels. Don't do nothing for other people. Like, bro, we've been doing our thing for how long? And no one is like, oh yeah. They'll be like, oh yeah, what you man are doing is amazing. But bro, you're in a position to help. What can you do that's gonna help people, bro? Like, so that I don't have respect for all clout and all of this malarkey. Do you know what I mean? But with the education, it's like we had to build this up and we started banging doors down in the council. And there was one Zoom meeting me and SK was on, and there was like one chancellor or whatever was on there, and it was a black woman in it. And we had meetings with her before talking about the stuff that we're trying to do. We're asking her how do we get funding, And it's just bare like run around circles. And it's just like, bro, you're in a position. Just give man the blueprint of what man needs to do. Man will do it. So we was on this Zoom call and we literally just blasted bare people in the community, like on the platform straight. We didn't care. Do you know what I mean? Because we said, we've had conversations with you in private. Man, seeing you talk now about nothing's happened. We are people that are actively doing something, so empower us so we can empower people. Do you get me? And then off the back of that conversation, we got called into a meeting with the local Croydon police and whatnot, and a chair called Anthony King, and we sat down, chopped it up, how can we work? So me and Skills as well started talking to them and letting them know about, educating them about like drill music. Like, you lot are taking it down because we were having music videos taken down. Other people's getting music videos taken down. So we're trying to tell them like...
So the videos were getting taken down because they felt that they were... Inciting violence
they don't
between
understand
gangs.
Language. Yeah, they don't understand language. So even flipping... There's a grime tune that they brought up. I think it was Skepta or Jamie or something. And they thought a word meant... I can't remember what it was, but they thought it meant kill someone. It's like, nah, he's not saying that. He's just saying that he's lyrics, like, do you know what I mean? There's a battle, And they're like, oh, swear down. And they're like, all right, do you know what? Could we form some sort of partnership in that where, cool, if there's anything going on, you let us know if there's a music video being shot and if it's okay. If you guys green light it, it's all good. So we were allowing people to shoot in certain places, Croydon.
So how did the community feel about that with you working with the police in that way? Because obviously, you know, within the street community, there's snitch culture and, you know...
We had people we had to deal with people, certain man from the end saying, why are you man working with the police and that? Why are you man... But again, it's perspective and understanding, bro. Like, if you view the police as a opposition all the time, it's always going to be that barrier, but you don't know how they operate. And us sitting down with the police and that allowed us to even understand the police. Like when they're talking about their stories being first on the scenes that we don't see, and someone's head's decapitated, a man's got to go back home to his mum. Do you know what I mean? Or certain things where there's a baby left in it. Do you know what I mean? They're seeing these stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's like when we had those conversations, and it humanized them to us, and just realized that they're normal people and they're working for a big institution as well at the same time, and they have to pledge allegiance to their badge of whatever, you know what I mean? So they can't fall out of line in certain areas, innit? So it's deeper than what we think. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you have to be able to find common ground, man. Like, you have to find common ground. And we also humanized us in a sense where it's like, no, because of how we presented ourselves now, they know that, okay, all people coming from this area or streets, whatever, there's actually some solid people. So let me think before I make a judgment.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just want to touch back on what you said about building communities building communities. Looking at hip hop culture, for example, that's something that was black built, black owned, and then no longer is. Right? What's your perspective on that? If you're talking about we have to build our own and shouldn't bring people to the table, because by nature hip hop allowed people to the table, and now it's no longer owned by the people that created it. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, innit? I think it's got to be selective, innit? Like, I guess it kind of comes to that whole gatekeeper conversation, innit? Like, a little bit. Like, but I think you got to... It's hard, man. Can't let everyone through. There's got to be a barrier to entry in a sense, but the barrier to entry shouldn't be based on clout and all of this stuff, innit? It needs to be based on real talent and does this person or individual or this entity, group of people, do they provide or do they bring something to the table that's going to help elevate it, take this up, and is it going to help change perspectives, broaden mindsets, and all of this stuff? Is it innovative? Not just anything, man. Do you know what I mean? So now what we have in the scene is just... That's why the UK music thing has just dipped over the past few years, innit? Because especially with drill, innit? Like, people might disagree with me, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and that. But I would say UK rap drill has been the main export to push the UK branding in terms of that urban music scene. Do you get what I'm saying? And once drill started popping, yeah, everyone's hopping on it. All labels want to sign it. Everyone wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to interview these people. Now, what happened is, it's the same as the investment game. Yeah. When it was hot, everyone's trying to buy in. No understanding. No real, like, go into the shows or, do you know what I mean? They don't understand it. It's just buying the top. And because they don't know what to do with it, and also you're given, without no understanding, you're giving artists that are coming from the lowest levels, like, that would never had any money, you're giving them 100 bags, like, for a record or whatever. It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So what happens when you give someone that money? They're going to just be like, right, I've made it. They're going to fall off to the dirt. And then when it doesn't give you the returns, what are you going to do? You're going to stop investing in it. So it's the same as the investment game. Like, so they're buying in, blowing it up, inflating, and then boom, hits the ceiling. Now there's a dip. But the real people are buying a dip like us. So we knew that this was going to happen as well. Because we said, people used to say, do you really think drill's going to get to the top? Look at Central C. We said, yeah, it's going to go to the top, and it's going to get to a point where there's only going to be like 2-3 records coming through, 2 artists that's really breaking through every year. It's going to be like everything else, but it's going to be established as a genre. And then now it's going to be like, you got to wait for the next, like a crypto boom. You got to wait for the next boom. Do you know what I'm saying? So right now we've been in the dip. And even with all these influencers, bloggers and stuff like that, all they do is talk about the same artists at the top. They're not in the shows. Me, Skills, other people, man's in these shows. Like, see artists like Len popping and that, was in these shows before they're popping. Yeah. Seeing what's happening on the ground. That's where the work should be done in terms of coverage and blogging. Not just talking about what, big up Skepta and all these man and that, but these man been doing it. We know what they're about. But cool, what else is popping on the ground? Like, bring that up. Do you know what I mean? So
do you think there's enough support for the scene in order for the scene to thrive? There was a post recently that was on social media where I can't remember the young man's name, but he was basically talking about tastemakers not supporting the scene, and as you're saying, only supporting those that are at the top of the tree, which is creating a vacuum for new talent to come through. What's your thoughts on that?
They ain't. Do you know what I mean? And this is why we're big on the music next gen, because what we're trying to do is build other people, younger people, like mindsets in terms of, we need to make them independent, start up your own business, start up your own label, whatever, start up your own management company. Like, if you go to New York, this is what they're all doing. They help each other, But if you have that, you build that up, there's an infrastructure around where it's like we can leverage and work with each other's artists. Maybe you've got a marketing agency, use that, but we all have a similar mindset. and concept of like, we got to build better together type thing. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it's like, oh, you come out of college, uni, let me get an A&R or a major label, Like, even learn how to do something individually for yourself. Because when you have that mindset, you see things different. You got a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? But you got people in the game now that ain't done no legwork, tastemakers that don't actually have any musical knowledge, background, or whatever, and they're dictating.
Yeah,
they're dictating. Do you know what I mean? So
what do you think about major labels? Because obviously you were managing Russ, and then his collaboration with Tion Wayne became the first number one record that was a drill record to hit top, and you got the production too. Yeah. Obviously Tion was signed to Atlantic, so it was a collaboration with Warner Music.
I think he had his own. I think he had his own distro or something.
Yeah,
like separate situation, and he's put it out through his own thing. But then once it starts popping, then they wanted to get behind it, innit?
Yeah.
Even man I didn't even fully believe in the tune. Like when I first heard it, and SK sent man the video and whatnot. It's like, it's hard, but what we did all say was the little transition in the video where he jumped and it skipped. We're like, nah, for these challenge stuff, that could bang in it.
Do you think that was the reason that it tipped the challenge, I think the TikTok?
I think a lot
transitions.
I think a lot of, for that record, I think specifically, a lot of things went well. Like everything synced. The beat was cold. Do you know what I mean? Gotcha did amazing on the beat. Visually, the energy that Russ always brings, and that was that. Tion's just Tion, innit? Bow was a great videographer and whatnot, and I think Russ has had the viral moments with Gunny and Keisha and Becky, and there was like a synergy there already, innit? And then the remix is what helped even take it to the max, because I feel like that represented the UK in a sense. You know what I mean? Got Ardy and giving the Cockney vibes and that. Do you know what I mean? But then he's mentioning cultural name. Do you know what I mean? So everyone could relate to it, and it was fun, and it was easy to take in, and it wasn't all complex, and that was just simple. And I think when all the stars align with records like that, I think there's always a chance for success and that. So yeah.
And as someone that's fiercely independent, you've recently, been joined the AIM Association Independent Music Board. What is working with someone? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What is it like for you as someone that's so independent, working with a major? How does that lean into what it is that you want to do?
I think some people like downplay major labels and stuff like that, but I think major labels serve its purpose, innit? Because at the end of the day, it is a machine. Yeah. And they do want to make profit. They do want to have catalog. They do want to have market share. But again, innit, if you're gonna do a deal, you've got to make sure that it's mutually beneficial, and you understand. All right, cool. Yeah, the advances are going to be big. The marketing budgets are going to be bigger. But okay, cool. How can I actually capitalize on this? Whether it's a single, whether it's an EP, album, how can I capitalize on this time here? What relationships can I build with people here? Because not everyone stays in the same place forever. Do you know what I mean? Look at like Rich Costello, he's left. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if you build certain relationships, so when they go elsewhere, you got that relationship. Do you know what I mean? You can pattern up, or maybe like you're coming from the absolute bottom, whatever, and you didn't really have much, and you got a massive advance. Yes, use the money wisely, innit? Like, think about it. We always ask artists when we start developing them and managing them, like, what's your survival number? Like, and that means like, what number do you need that's just going to cover your main bills, like your living expense, just to eat, sleep, and get me? Like, what is that number? Is it 20 grand for the year, 15 grand? Is that going to allow you to just do music? So look at that and say, all right, cool, if my survival number, and maybe you're living at home, 20 grand, cool. Put that 20 grand away and still keep the same standard of living to a certain degree. Get something else for yourself, nice, whether that's a bit of jewelry, cool, understand. It's hip-hop to do that way. And if it's living, then put that deeper in the crib. Do you know what I mean? put 50 bags on the crib, and then the rest, see how you can kind of create some sort of business to generate revenue that you can reinvest in yourself. That's how we chop it up. But artists don't like to listen. Do you know what I mean? We've seen artists blow peas, bro. Do you know what I mean? You've seen artists blow peas, bro. Like, and it hurts, innit? It's like, bro, if man was in your position, you're making more bread than man. Like, we're only getting 20% or 25% if it's two people and that. Like, you're getting all of this. Like, just listen. We had one artist and we're like, bro, buy a car, get your driving license. Like, put the money to the side. Do this. Didn't want to listen. Blew $5,000 in like 2 weeks. Blew 10 grand in like a month, whatever.
What, on cars?
Not on cars, just on drugs, clothes, Uber, eating, the mandem. Do you get what I'm saying? I won't say his name, but now where is he, bro? Like, he's not even around. He's off the map. But we're still here. Why? Because it's about reinvesting in yourself and building that foundation so you can stand. Yeah. It's going to get tough at times and that, but you've got to build yourself.
Do you think that comes down to a lack of education? Because I've said for a long time, you know, there's two things that I've always said about rap culture, especially rap culture, black music culture, etc. If you're taking people who have never had money, who are coming from a low socioeconomic background, and then you suddenly give them a bunch of money, two things happen. One, they become a target within the area that they're coming from. And number two, they're likely going to spend all that money very quickly because there's no education there. Do you think that it's labels' job, management, team around to educate those people and to also get them out of the areas that they come in? So if you look at something like So Solid, for example, back in the day, and it was like, why are they running around doing all this stuff? Well, they're protecting themselves because they're targets. They're on TV, they've got money, and they've got all this stuff. So they've become a target. And that's happened time and time again with rappers coming out of different areas. And obviously, a lot of talent just go and spend money because they think they're rich and they forget actually this deal spans 3 years. So that 150 grand is 150 grand over 3 years. And that's before I've paid tax on it. So it actually works out a lot less, maybe 30, 40 grand a year. But they feel like they're rich in that moment because they get it in one lump sum. Do you think there needs to be more education around that?
100%, and it's not the label's fault. So
whose job is it?
When you see, I think it's the artist first and foremost, period. Everyone's got their own sole responsibility, you know. If you're doing something like, you see anything me and SK get into, like we're building an app right now, what are we doing? Like, all right, cool, let's read a book on tech, or let's go to this seminar on tech and let's watch this video, we're sending each other videos, because education is the blueprint for everything. Like, do you know what I mean? That's number one, but it's for the artist. But number two, first and foremost, is the manager, innit? But the problem is, and I said this the other day, like, I think in another interview or course in it, but the problem today is people becoming overnight successes, or to get in that moment that happens overnight, and it comes fast in it. So they've been putting in the work, but they haven't prepared in it. And there's something like, say, the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Say them again a little bit slower.
5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Okay.
If you don't prepare, you're preparing to fail. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, artist booms. My brethren's managing me now. They're on top of the world because everyone's like, yeah, man, you guys are so great. Come to this interview. Viva want to do this. Come over here. This magazine want to do this. GQ did this, that, da. And it's all happening. You're thinking it's all going well. Great. Yeah, but that song's going to dry up a little bit slowly. You're not going to see it, but it's going to happen. And then it's like, boom. Because your manager or because your brethren hasn't thought, do you know what? Now I'm here and I've got access to these different people I have meetings with. How can I pick, as the manager, how can I pick the brain of these people around so I can understand and make sure that my artist is good? So even in our music business course, we say, how do you spot out a good manager, a bad manager? And a good manager is one that you see that's putting themselves in places to get knowledge, and they're going to seminars, they're signing up for the AIM, they're signing up for these bodies, MMF, MPA, Music Publishers Association, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or they're trying to get a job in the music industry, so they can bring more to the table. If your manager does not know anything, it's like driving a car without doing the lessons, isn't it? Like, and that's the problem as well. So you got these managers in these positions. They got good people trying to reach out to collaborate to do certain things, but they're like, because this person doesn't look lit, not going to do nothing. But you don't know that that person's connected to this and and that could be actually a very good beneficial move in the long run. Do you get what I'm saying? And not having that education means your artist is going to suffer because you can't direct. At least if you have the education, you say certain things and the artist doesn't listen, they can never say that, oh, I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? So
you've broken down what a good manager is. What makes a good artist? What attracts you to wanting to manage an artist? What makes a good artist proposition?
So what I think, character, like what you got to represent something, innit? Like, what do you stand for? In it, it's got to be more than just music. Like, why do you do this? What's the, as Think and Grow Rich would say, like, what's that burning passion, desire? What is it that makes you wake up and say, cool, I got to get up and go again? Like, what is that? And over time, it took a while to kind of understand that and see that. It's just like, man needs to see something I see in myself, but you express that in the creative, artistic way. Do you know what I mean? So how do you treat people? What's your character like? Do you know what I mean? What are you trying to achieve? What's your purpose? And what's the end goal? Can you see all the way to the finish line? Because that shows, man, that, all right, cool. When it gets tough, you still know where you're going, so you're going to keep walking, you're going to crawl, you're going to keep going, innit? But if you don't have that, then you don't know where you're going, which means man can't help. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've had to turn down, like, I took a break from like managing artists like this past year for a little bit because I've been doing it for too long. Do you know what I mean? I was like, let me get a job in the industry, and so I started working at Centric now.
Centric is a music publisher.
One of the biggest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shout them out, and obviously it's been great because I also wanted to learn the royalty side and stuff.
What's been the biggest lessons you've learned working in the music industry?
Tables always turn. And also learning the fact that you gotta treat people as what they show you, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have the discernment, you spot certain signs and that, it's like, ah, cool. Say nothing, like, let me just take that and note that down, that's how you move. So, and let me not expect from others what I expect of myself, because we operate on two different mindsets. Do you know what I mean? Like, what I'm inputting to myself is different to what you're inputting. Do you know what I mean? And it's looking at that and saying, like, not being offended, innit? Like, I think that's one of the biggest lessons, because it's the ego. The music industry is the ego business, innit? Straight up. And it's learning not to take offense and understanding that that person's viewpoint is based on their experience and their perspective. Do you know what I mean? So if they don't have that viewpoint perspective, that knowledge, if they don't have the knowledge, I can't be mad because they don't know what they don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I can't, and even at that, they're only projecting what they've experienced, innit? Because what comes out of the heart is just literally what you've experienced, innit? What you've exposed to. So that's why you see me, SK, we don't speak nothing negative, bro. Like, nothing negative. Like, even if we're working with people, it's hard, we don't say nothing, man, because there's a reason for everything, innit? There's a reason why that person moves how they move. And man's not in control of that. Man's only in control of what comes out of my mouth, what man does. Do you know what I mean? How man treats people, that's what man's in control of. So that's it. So it's real easy to navigate. Do you know what I mean?
How important is mentorship to you?
Mentorship's everything. Mentorship is everything, bro. Like, man wouldn't be here without mentors, bro. Like, throughout my journey, like, after I met Andrew Jenner, I've always been looking for mentors for the next level, because each mentor, bro, like, to be great, bro, you got to learn from greats, whether they're great in finance, whether they're great in artist management, whether they're great in faith, whether they're great at this. The more great people you can learn from, the greater that you can become, and the greater you can help other people, because you're creating a brand new blueprint. So I'm running around just collecting blueprints. Like, man's collected blueprints from you. You get me? When you told me, like, listen, to you need to join the AIM board. You need to be a representation. I didn't know about that. You exposed me to the AIM. Then I started learning, like, raw. This game's based off like having memberships as well. Like you need to be part of certain communities. I didn't understand that. So before, when me and SK was a bit young, like, oh, how's this person getting an award? Like, nah, you gotta be part of the community to be recognised. And
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But other people be looking at it like, how all negative, like negative Nancy, like, oh, how's this person got an award, fam? I've put in more work than man, like, but you don't have the education and knowledge on how that system and how that community operates to do that. You don't understand. So if you don't know something, go figure it out and learn. Do you get what I'm saying? There's all, and that's, I think that's what's beautiful about life, bro. You always get to learn something new because there's always something that you don't know. So the more you know, the more you can, bro. Like I tried to all different mentors, bro. I had a public speaking mentor because I was like, raw, like, do you know what? Man's starting to do these interviews. Man needs to get better. How can I get better? So I did 2-3 sessions with a woman in the community that gets funding to do certain courses, and I saw that she does public speaking. So I said, can I do like 2-3 sessions with you? She started teaching me about, oh yeah, your hand language, like how you coming across, project your voice, Once I knew that, then it made me more confident because I know something, and confidence is based on what you know, innit?
Yeah.
If you don't know something, you're gonna fluster.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? You gotta be present. Like you have to be present, and even to know that, like I'm speaking like this, even knowing that Cool just picked up these awards, like man knew at a very young age from these little things that man's destined for greatness. Like man knew, because if you plan well and if you have an end goal of where you're trying to be, bro, and if you put God first as well, like it's gonna happen, not in your timing, but you have to just stay resilient. You gotta be unstoppable. You gotta break through them barriers and that, because all of those L's, those lessons, that's what shapes your character. And that is the relevant. If there's a revelation I've had the last few months, whatever, it's not about the end goal and that. Like it's not about the cause. It's like God told, man. It's not about the cause. And it's funny because TK, it's like Toby cause, because when I was like doing whatever, like people call me cause, innit? But it's not about the cause. Your cause can be great, but what it's about your character. And your character only gets shaped on the stuff in between. But at the end of the day, the stuff in between don't matter, because it's literally about, this is where you started, this is how you finish at the finish line. Do you get me?
So what does the future look like for Finesse Foreva and for you?
Yeah, just trying to build a system, man. Like, man just wants it to be able to run basically forever. Like, man's left a blueprint there. It's like man could develop people, and there's other people that can run the company, and they can steer it to wherever the world's going. Then, like, true success is succession. That is true success. Boom. If there's no succession, that's not success, because it dies. That dream will die with you. But can you impart that dream in other people and keep that running? That's what it's about. So we're trying to build up different parts of FF, different things that's going to help sustain it and put people into position, do more courses. Like even in terms of what we've done, like everything we do, and I've said it before, everything we've done, we're never in a position where we don't know what we're going to do, because we've laid it out. It's just ticking one thing off, one thing at a time. Like, but even with the music business courses, it's like, cool, we've done 7 cohorts, reached over 100 young people with the music business course. That's establishing the understanding of the whole environment. Cool. Now we just launched our live events management course. Understand the live game. And then next year, we're going to launch our production and engineering course, where they're going to be a more practical element, and we're going to bring people from publishing to just come in to just talk maybe for 20 minutes while you're doing the practicalities. So same time, you're learning that theory and practical at the same time. But it's like, now when you come to FF or Music Next Gen, you understand the music business and you've done that entry level course. You understand the live game. Now you understand production, engineering. Now you're self-sufficient and self-independent, because you can do the practical element, or you've got knowledge on that. You know how that works. You can do live events. You know the music business and the knowledge, which means you can manage artists. You can work in a certain sector of the music industry. So the world's your oyster. Do you get me? And then after that, it's about how do we put this together, and we create a accreditation course where you can get a proper degree, which places can recognize and say, yeah, it's an accreditation, cool, I'll give you the job. And I feel like that will be once we built that academy or whatever that is, and we have a building in Croydon or whatever, and it's like studios similar to like UD setup, innit?
Yeah. And
Once we've
UD's
got
our
that-
partners on this, by the way.
I love Pamela, man, but shout her out 'cause she gave me an opportunity as well. But once we've done all that, all we need to do, foundation set, all we need to just do is just build. And that might take another 5 years to get to higher. But then we can go back to Africa because the music scene's booming, and that's one of our goals. And create infrastructure there, education and that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Okay. Well, time's flown. My final question, we always end the podcast with what it means to be unstoppable for you. Obviously, this is the Be Unstoppable podcast, and the essence of being unstoppable often stems from moments where you have to show resilience, determination, and vision, which is something you've spoken about endlessly during this conversation. Can you share with us a time when you had to be unstoppable, whether it was in your life or in the music industry?
The pandemic, like, this was just literally just off highs. Like we just got a deal. We just had a guarantor with Live Nation for Skendo and AM to do another tour. So we thought we were going to get like 27, 30 bags or whatever it was. We started planning, putting things in motion. Started building like an additional 2-3 studio units to what we had. We had like a photography studio and whatnot. Had our office as well, separate to that. Do you know what I mean? So things were well. Office space, studio spaces, So we're building, then boom, pandemic happens, bro. Everything gets locked off. Tour cancelled. Lost all that income that was forecasted. Studio locked off. People can't come to studio. We can't do, even it's hard to shoot music videos, It's hard to link up with artists to even put out records. Yeah, bro, like, it was hot. Builders, AWOL, material, that whole logistics of getting materials and that went out the window. So now, with all incomes dried up, bro, and obviously we're not working, innit? So this is all we're doing, hustling, day in, day out. All of that is unplugged. We just come back from New York. We were supposed to go to New York again to pattern up just off the back of the Drake cut so we would have teed up some proper business. Do you know what I mean? Couldn't take flights. All income stripped and all outgoings still going, bro. We was in the pits, bro. Man was all feeling suicidal and all these things, thinking, bro, why did we do this? Why did we have ambition? Like, do you know what I mean? Why do we have ambition to go on? If we just didn't do that, even like for our office space, because what we like to do is just pay things up front and that. So we paid for 2 years, but we paid for 1 year full up front. So once things started going in, it's like we had to keep paying, and we were locked in because we said we'll stay for 2 years, innit? So regardless, even if we did decide to cut out, we'd still have to pay that money. Do you know what I mean? So imagine you got like 5 grand coming out. We had to take loans and that. Do you get what I'm saying? To keep things afloat, which we're even still paying back now. Do you get what I'm saying? But there was still light at the end of the tunnel in certain areas and that, where it was signs from God or whatever. People, it's like, keep going, innit? Just keep going. It's going to get better. But again, all of these stuff is here to make you stronger, to be unstoppable. Do you get what I'm saying? To show that you can overcome and show other people, like, it doesn't matter how down you are, like, you can always keep going, but just don't quit, innit? Just don't quit. Yeah. TK,
you're super inspirational. I always love talking to you. You make me feel so much younger when I talk to you as well. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on board the Be Unstoppable podcast. I know how much you do for the communities. I know how much you're helping young people to learn about the music industry and to find opportunity in the business. And I commend you for it. The work you do is amazing. And also, just in the business itself, you know, you've had #1 records. You've tapped into a genre and helped to make it globally recognized. Your achievements, I don't think, are necessarily spoken about enough. And I definitely want to give you your flowers. And I know that there's even more great things ahead of you. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like. And really, really, impressed by the things that you've achieved so far. So
Thank
you for coming on. We're going to stick around. We're going to do some extras for the Patreon crew. So all of the Patreon crew, make sure you go and check out the extras.
Get that.
We're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff that is very, very useful to you. But for all those locked in, thank you for tuning in. And remember,
Be unstoppable.
Be unstoppable. And you can always choose your path in life, but always choose to be unstoppable.
Choice is yours, man.
Choice is yours.